the definition with the examples. So first of all, definition. Definition is nothing but a compounding of plastics mainly applicable to improve the strength of the pure plastics. Actually, the definition for the plastic is one of the organic substance which have the flexibility to molded into desired shape or required shape by applying temperature and pressure in the presence of catalyst. But pure plastic cannot be molded into a desired shape without applying a compounding of plastics. So compounding of plastics is nothing but to improve the strength of the plastics by adding the ingredients from the externally. So that are called the compounding of plastics. And that compounding of plastics takes place by the various types of the examples in various types of the category. So let us see one by one. So first of all, we see the definition for the compounding of the plastics. Compounding of plastics may be defined as the mixing of different materials like plasticizers, fillers of extenders, lubricants, pigments to the thermoplastic and thermosetting reagents to increase their useful properties like strength, toughness, etc. Okay, ma? Okay, ma, see the definition. Compounding of plastics may be defined as the mixing of different materials like plasticizers, fillers of extenders, lubricants, pigments to the thermoplastic and thermosetting reagents to increase their useful properties like strength and toughness. Okay, ma. So first of all, we remember the definition for the thermoplastic and thermosetting resins. Thermoplastic and thermosetting resins. So these two are the two types of the plastics, thermoplastic and thermosetting. Okay, ma, tell me, out of thermoplastic and thermosetting resins, which are more stable?
Thermosetting.
Thermosetting resins are more stable. Why thermosetting resins are more stable? Which chain involved in the thermosetting resins?
Cross-link.
Cross-linked chain. Okay, very good. Because of the involvement of the cross-linked chain in thermosetting resins, these are more stable compared to the thermoplastic resins. And what is the definition for thermoplastic and thermosetting resins? Anybody define thermoplastic?
They can be molded on heating, sir.
They can be molded on heating. That means because of its nature. So what is the nature? Soft on heating and stiff on cooling. Soft on heating and stiff on Am I all of you visible my screen? Am I audible to you? All of you visible my screen?
Yes, sir.
Compounding definition.
Visible, sir.
Okay, ma. Let us start the definition of the compounding. Already we discussed about compounding is nothing but in order to improve the strength of the pure plastic material by the addition of the ingredients from the externally, from the outside. So that is called the compounding of plastics. So in what type of categories the compounding of the plastics takes place? See in first para, that is compounding of the plastics may be defined as the mixing of different materials like plasticizers, fillers of extenders, lubricants, pigments to the thermoplastic and thermosetting resins to increase their useful properties like strength and toughness, etc. Okay, ma. So there are two types of the plastics already discussed in previous classes. One is thermoplastic and second one is the thermosetting resins. So in thermoplastic resins, the strength of the materials is less compared to the thermosetting resins. Why? Because in thermoplastic resins, mainly it involves the linear and branched chain polymers. And this thermoplastic resins undergo which type of the polymerization? Amma? This thermoplastic resins undergoes which type of polymerization?
Additional.
Addition polymerization. Okay, very good. And coming to the thermosetting resins, which involves the cross-linked chain. And what is the polymerization involved in thermosetting resins? Amma?
Condensation polymer.
Condensation.
Polymerization. Okay, very good. So the definition for the thermoplastics, is the which are soft on heating and stiff on cooling. Which are soft on heating and plastic. Whereas the thermosetting resins stiff on heating and further there is no change on cooling. So that are called thermosetting resins. Okay, ma. And in the case of thermosetting, there is no remolding is possible because of the cross-linked chain. Okay, ma. So in order to avoid the such type of the problems, we add the ingredients like plasticizers, fillers, lubricants, and pigments from the outside. So that is called compounding of the plastics. And for the purpose of to improve the strength, toughness of the properties of the plastics. Okay, first of all, we see resins. Resins have the plasticity or binding property, but need other ingredients to be mixed with them for the fabrication of into useful shapes. So plasticity means plastics have the property like plasticity. Plasticity means they are molded into desired shape by applying temperature and pressure. So initially the plastics get the plasticity because of the addition of the resins or binding property, but they need the other ingredients to be mixed with them for the fabrication into useful shapes. Okay, ma. So plasticity is nothing but the plastics are molded into desired shape by applying temperature and pressure in the presence of a catalyst. So that is possible by the resins. But resins are should not directly added to the pure plastics. They need some of the other ingredients in order to mix with the plastics. We see the resins are the product of polymerization is called resins. So that means whenever the polymerization takes place to give a long chain product that are called as a polymer, that polymer is also called as a resins, and this forms the major portion of the body of the plastics. Why? Because plastics are having the property like plasticity. So it is the binder which holds the different consistencies together. So binder means which have the binding capacity and which can hold that particular substance like plastics together, that substance. And thermosetting resins are usually supplied as linear polymers of comparatively low molecular weight because at this stage they are fusible and hence moldable. Okay, so in case of actually thermosetting resins are available in a cross-linked chain, but they cannot be remolded or molding into desired shape. So in order to change the properties of the thermosetting resins, we add the such like resins. Whenever the resins are added to the thermosetting plastics, they acquire a nature of plasticity. So because of plasticity, they can be molded into desired shape by applying a suitable temperature. And the conversion of this fusible form into cross-linked infusible form takes place during molding itself in presence of catalyst, etc. And further, the nature of the thermosetting resins reverts back by adding the cross-linking chain during the molding process, and it can be takes place in the presence of a catalyst. Okay, ma? So anybody know the definition for the catalyst?
Which increases the rate of reaction.
Which increases the rate of the reaction, but it cannot involve the product formation. Okay, ma? Catalyst is a substance which improves the rate of the reaction, but it cannot involve the product formation. So that is the condition and the definition for a catalyst. And after that, rate of the reaction. Rate of the reaction means reaction is nothing but the combination of reactants to give a products. That means we simply define as rate of the reaction decreasing the concentration of the reactants, decreasing the concentration of the reactants with respect to time, or increasing the concentration of products, increasing the concentration of products with respect to time. So that is the rate of the reaction. So such rate is enhanced by the substance like catalyst, and which cannot involve the product formation. Okay, ma? So the process of addition of external substances in order to improve the properties of the plastics like resins by the presence of catalyst. Okay, ma? So that is about the first external ingredient, resins. And second one is the plasticizers. Second one is the plasticizers. Already we discussed about plasticizers is nothing but to improve the plasticity of the plastic. So plasticity, what is the plasticity? The substance which is molded into desired shape or required shape by applying temperature and pressure in the presence of catalyst. So that is called plasticity. So the plasticity is acquired by the plastics by using plasticizer. So plasticizers are the substances added to enhance the plasticity of the material. So see the point, plasticity of the material and to reduce the cracking on the surface. So without plasticity of the material, is it possible to molding into desired shape?
No.
No. So because of the plasticity of the plastic, it is molded into desired shape. So without plasticity, what happens in a material? Cracking takes place. If you apply the external force or external pressure on that material doesn't have the plasticity. What happens? It cannot be molded, and it undergoes breaking takes place. Breaking nothing but cracking takes place. Cracking on the surface of the material. So in order to avoid the such situation in case of the plastics, we add the plasticizers to get a property like plasticity, to get the property like plasticity. And plasticizers are added to the plastics to increase the flexibility and toughness. So plasticizers are added to the plastics to increase the flexibility and toughness. So plasticizers is also increase the flow property of the plastics also. Flow property is nothing but a movement of the plastics from one place to another state in the liquid physical state. Okay, and what are the substances taken as a plasticizers like tricresyl phosphate, dibutyl oxalate, and castor oil. So because of this castor oil, what happens? Movement will be takes place in the plastics. Okay, so that is to improve the flow property of the plastics. Okay, so this is about the second ingredient, plasticizers. Now let us see the third ingredient. Fillers are extenders. Fillers are extenders. Generally, fillers are improve the stability of the plastics. So fillers are generally added. Opening up slide out కనబడుతుందమ్మా చూద్దాం. Now all of you visible the pillar slide?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Now it is visible.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, all of you watch the previous slide, plasticizer slide.
No, sir.
Resin slide. All of you watch the resin slide.
Yes, sir.
Okay. After the resins, next we enter into the plasticizers. So plasticizers is nothing but in order to improve the plasticity of the material, nothing but plastic. Without plasticity, if you apply the pressure or force for the material converted into desired shape, what happening? They will be cracking takes place. Because of the plasticity present in the plastic, they have the flexibility molded into desired shape by applying temperature and pressure. So that is possible if and only if because of the plasticizers are added to the material plastic, and plasticizers are added to the plastics to increase the flexibility and toughness. And plasticizers are also increase the flow property of the plastics. Okay, ma? So what are the substances, what are the chemicals are added to the improve the plasticity of the plastics? The examples are tricrysyl phosphate, dibutyl tricyl phosphate, dibutyl oxalate, and castor oil. Tricrysyl phosphate, dibutyl oxalate, and castor oil. Okay, so these are the suitable substances of plasticizers to add the plastics in order to improve the plasticity. So what is the definition for plasticity? Plasticity is nothing but a to mold a material into desired shape, to mold the material into desired shape or required shape. So that is the definition for a plasticity. Okay, ma? Now all of you visible the filler slide?
Yes, sir.
Okay, ma. Already previous slide, all of you plasticizers visible the plasticizer slide?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now the topic is the fillers or extenders. Generally fillers are applicable to improve the strength of the plastics. So fillers are generally added to thermosetting plastics to increase the elasticity and crack resistance. Why? Because thermosetting plastics are the high strength material and they can avoid the by molding of the plastics the process like cracking material. So in order to develop the need to elasticity towards the thermosetting plastics. So for the purpose to add the fillers or extenders toward the thermosetting plastics. So fillers improve the thermal stability, strength, non-combustibility, water resistance, and electrical insulation properties, and external appearance. So these are the advantages by addition of the fillers. So fillers are improve the thermal stability, strength, non-combustibility, water resistance, and electrical insulation properties, and external appearance. So the substances which are added to the fillers or extenders generally mica, cotton, carbon black, graphite, and barium sulfate. BaSO4 means what is the name of this formula? Barium sulfate. By the addition of these fillers and extenders to improve the elasticity of the thermosetting plastics. Okay, ma? Now next one is the dyes and pigments. Dyes and pigments. So all of you understand from the title of the external ingredient pigments. Pigments is nothing but a color producing agents. Color producing agent. So these are added to impart the desired color to the plastics and give decorative effect. So mainly these substances are applicable to plastics in order to improve the decoration purpose and to get a desired color. For example, there are so many chemicals are added to the plastic to get a different colors. For example, lead chromate to give a yellow color, whereas ferrocyanide to give a blue color. And next external ingredient is the stabilizers. So stabilizers are used to improve the thermal stability of the plastics. Thermal stability of the plastics. For example, polyvinyl chloride PVC. At molding temperature, PVC undergoes a decomposition and decolorization. So during their molding, stabilizers are used. Example, white lead and lead chromate. So first of all, we see stabilizers are used to improve the thermal stability of the plastic. Addition or condensation.
Addition polymerization.
Addition polymerization, very good. So because of the addition polymerization, what happens? They are linear and branched chain involves, and the strength of the material is less. So because of that less strength of the PVC at molding temperature, why? Because the molding is applied at a very high temperature and pressure. So because of the at a high temperature, the polyvinyl chloride easily undergoes a decomposition and decolorization. So in order to avoid the such circumstances in PVC, we add the stabilizers for the usage of PVC either in domestic purpose and industrial purpose. So during their molding, stabilizers are used. And what are the examples for the stabilizers? White lead and lead chromate. White lead and lead chromate. Okay, ma? So this is about the stabilizers which are added to the plastics in order to improve the thermal stability. Okay, ma? Now I share the material also.
Coming.
Okay, ma. All of you visible the word file of compounding of plastics, amma?
Yes.
Okay, ma. So this is about the material for the compounding of the plastics. Already you discussed about the definition and the external ingredients like resins, plasticizers, fillers and extenders, dyes and pigments, stabilizers. Okay, ma. So these are the 5 types of the external ingredients in order to improve the strength of the plastics. So that process is nothing but a compounding of the plastics. And we see the various examples in each and every category like resins, plasticizers, fillers or extenders, dyes and pigments and stabilizers. Okay, ma. So this is also one of the important topic, ma, in our examination point of view, either in CIE or some semester end examinations. Okay, ma. Okay, now all of you visible this slide, compounding of the plastic. All of you visible this side, compounding of plastic.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay, tell me what is the definition for compounding of plastics?
Mixing of different materials like plasticizers, extenders, lubricants, and pigments to thermosetting and thermoplastics. To
Only
increase
thermoplastics or thermosetting also?
both.
Both. Okay. To increase the useful properties or to improve the strength of the plastic. That is nothing but a compounding of plastic. Okay, ma. Define thermoplastic, ma. Define thermoplastic. The plastics which are soft on heating and stiff on cooling. The plastics which are soft on heating and stiff on cooling, that are called a thermoplastic resins. Okay, ma. What about thermosetting resins, ma?
Which on heating they become stiff and soft, hard.
And further, there is no change on cooling.
No
And further,
change.
there is no change on cooling. So that means there directly takes place the permanent shape on heating. And further, there is no change on cooling. That are called a thermosetting resins. So anyway, the 2 types of the plastics is need to develop the some of the properties like strength and toughness. For this purpose, we add the external ingredients. External ingredients, such process is called as a compounding of a plastics. And this compounding of the plastics takes place in various categories, either by addition of plasticizers, fillers or extenders, lubricants, pigments, and pigments and stabilizers. Okay, ma. So these 5 categories involved in the compounding of a plastics. And before knowing that categories, the resins are the very important, like thermoplastic and thermosetting resin. So resins of the plasticity are binding of property, but need other ingredients to be mixed with them for the fabrication into useful shape. For the fabrication of for the fabrication into useful shapes. Okay, now we see what is the definition for resins. Resins are nothing but the product of a polymerization. That means long chain polymer. That means, and this forms a major portion of a body of the plastics. So because of the resins present in the plastics, they have the property like plasticity, and they can be molded into a desired shape, and these resins are which can hold the plastics because of the binding capacity, okay amma? And the process of the resins takes place in the presence of catalyst. Why? Because the catalyst is substance which improve the rate of the reaction without involving the product formation, okay amma? So that is about the resins. Now we see one by one the categories of a compounding of a plastics. The first one is the plasticizers. So from the title we understood that plasticizers are applicable to improve the which property in plastics, amma?
Plasticity of material.
Plasticity of the material. Okay, very good. So plasticity is defined as the substance is molded into desired shape or required shape by applying temperature and pressure, in the presence of catalyst. So that is called a plasticity. So such plasticity is present in plastics because the flexibility of the plastic is very, very high. Okay, so because of that plasticity present in the plastics, it can be molded into desired shape. If you apply the same force or stress other than the plastic towards the other material, what happens? They will be undergo a cracking on its surface. Okay, and what is the importance of plasticizers, amma?
Increases flexibility and toughness.
Okay, and what is the another property?
And
Flow.
increase the flow property of plastics.
Okay, amma. So there are mainly 3 advantages by the addition of the plasticizers. The first one, to improve the flexibility and toughness, and also to improve the flow property of the plastics. Okay, amma. Tell me, what are the chemicals used as plasticizers?
Tricrysyl phosphate, dibutyl oxalate,
And also
Castor oil.
castor oil. Okay.
castor oil.
Come on, this is about the plasticizers. Next we see fillers. The second category is the fillers. So fillers are which purpose, amma? What is the purpose of fillers?
Increase elasticity and crack
Okay. Crack resistance. So fillers are mainly applicable to add the especially thermosetting resins, thermosetting plastics, in order to improve the elasticity and crack resistance. Why? Because already we define the thermosetting plastics. They are become hard on heating, and further there is no change on cooling, that means they undergo a permanent fixed shape on heating, and further there is no change on cooling. So because of that nature, if you apply the external pressure or force, what happens? They undergo a crack. So because of to avoid that crack process, we add the fillers towards the thermosetting plastics for the purpose to develop the elasticity property. Why? Because if elasticity is present, to reduce the crack of the material, cracking of a material. So what is the elasticity? Elasticity is nothing but the substance comes to its original shape. The substance comes to its original shape after removal of applied stress or force. The substance comes to its original shape after removal of applied stress or force. Okay, ma? And fillers is also improve the thermal stability, strength, and non-combustibility, water resistance material, and electrical insulation properties, and also external appearance. Okay, ma, tell me, what are the what are the chemicals used for acts as a fillers?
Mica, cotton, carbon black graphite, barium sulfate.
Carbon black, graphite, and barium sulfate. Okay, ma? So this is about second category. And third category is nothing but a dyes and pigments. Dyes and pigments. So from the title understood that pigments are nothing but a color producing agent. So by the addition of the pigments towards the plastics, what happens? They are producing a colors towards the plastic and develop the its appearance. Okay, so these are added to impart the desired color to the plastics and give the decorative effect. Okay, tell me what are the examples for your dyes and pigments?
Lead chromate, ferrocyanide.
Okay, lead chromate produces which color?
Yellow.
Yellow color. Ferrocyanide?
Blue.
Blue.
Blue color. Okay, very good. And further, the last category is the stabilizers. So stabilizers is nothing but in order to improve the thermal stability of the plastics, especially in the case of the PVC, polyvinyl chloride. Why? Because PVC is most probably used for the domestic purpose, for the electrical wiring and water pipes. Okay, so because of that, we apply the molding purpose, but molding is applicable to at very high temperature. So at very high temperature, the PVC undergoes a decomposition and decolorization, because PVC is produced by the additional polymerization and which involves the weak van der Waals forces. So at that situation, it is need to improve the strength of the PVC. So for the purpose to add the stabilizers towards the material like PVC by addition of a required chemicals. So especially during the molding, stabilizers are used. Tell me, what are the materials used for stabilizers, Amma?
White lead, lead chromate.
White lead and lead chromate. Okay, so this is about the overall compounding of a plastics. Okay, now I am taking attendance. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What about 63 is also absent, 64 absent. Okay, ma? Totally 6 members are absent. Okay, ma? Now everybody understood the compounding of plastics, ma, with suitable examples. Emma, give me response.
Yes, sir.
Okay, ma. Thank you for your listening.